Welcome back to JJ Isaacson Field for the back end of our Tuesday Night Baseball doubleheader between the newly crowned Corn Belt League regular season champion Filthballers and the 12-11 Bombers. Tyler Reidy and Jaden Taylor here with you. Just moments away from first pitch, we'll run through the scores from today. Filthballers already taken down the Black Sox 6-3 in a dramatic game to take home the title over in Council Bluffs at Iowa Western. Red Raiders lead the Rail Riders 1-0. And then we got the Filthballers and the Bombers on tap here. And you see the Filthballers, newly crowned champions, back-to-back, winning 6-3 over the Black Sox today in a close one. So look at the standings. Filthballers have locked up the #1 seed in the postseason. Black Sox seem to be squarely within the #2, but the Bombers have a lot to play for, trying to get past the Haymakers and coming off a tough game against the Haymakers, losing 9-3 last night. Bombers looking for a big bounce-back performance against C.J. Fleeman, the Filthballers starting pitcher.
Yeah, Fleeman's been one of the really 2 or 3 guys that they've been able to rely on a lot this season at the top of this pitching staff here for the Filthballers. We just saw Justin Jury. You can talk about Fleeman here as well as seen a couple other guys that have been able to work throughout this pitching staff, but hopefully another really good night for him. A 4-pitch mix so far for Fleeman this season, especially to the left side, mixing about 84, 85 on the fastball, works a curve change and a slider. Work a lot of changeups on 1-1 pitches, but the slider is going to be his go-away pitch. He's looking to work like a true slider, not as much like a slurve, which a lot of guys can see of kind of a sidearm lefty, but it's going to have that true slider movement.
1-1 on James Grease, the center fielder. He leads off. Batting order for the Bombers. Grease, then Sponberg, the right fielder. Tanner Black, the left fielder, third. Shortstop Brennan Cassio, fourth. First baseman Nico Saul, fifth. Catcher Gage Doolin, sixth. Third baseman Braden Olson, seventh. Second baseman Caleb Lemon, eighth. And then the DH Kyle Weber and the extra hitter Phillip Jordan. As that's in the air, shallow right field. Pomeroy makes the catch. Mitchell Pomeroy making his Filthballers debut today. They just picked him up out of the University of Wisconsin-Platteville. And he makes the grab for out #1.
Again, so many guys in this Filthballers team that are able to go out and make plays. And right there, Pomeroy in his first chance out there. And, I mean, they mentioned it. Brendan Anderson, I think, really hit on the button. The depth of this team is really the reason why they're so good. They have playmakers. They have great guys. It's just how many guys they have that are able to produce is the big reason they've been so good this season.
Yep, the word he used was top to bottom, all through that Filthballer dugout, rotation, bullpen. There are playmakers and winning ball players. As there's ball one from Fleeman as he faces Danny Sponberg, the right fielder, who had a spectacular night despite the 6-run loss against the Haymakers. Got on base all 3 times, stole 3 bags, as he now has a league-leading 19 stolen bases and made a phenomenal diving catch in right field when it was a 9-0 game in the 6th inning.
Yeah, and again, that just shows the heart that you've seen from a guy like Sponberg. You're really down in a spot where it's pretty unlikely you're even going to see the light of day and coming back in that one, but still being able to lay out, maybe help yourself out a little bit, but help the team out in a big spot. He was really all over the field defensively, had a big day offensively, so there's still that bright spot you can see with this kind of team, even in a struggling sense.
Swings and misses on a changeup, 2-2. Filthballers used 3 pitchers in that 6-3 win over the Black Sox. Justin Drury went 5 innings. Ty Faulkner through the 6th, gave up 2 tying runs in the 6th inning, evened it at 3, but then Noah Wayne came on and got the save. As Sponberg pulls it left side, that's a really tough play with his speed and no chance to get him, and the throw is high, and Sponberg will take second base on the errant throw from Horn. And Jaden, I know it's tough to see from up here when obviously down on the field these guys want to make every play, but Horn probably should have eaten that one up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the thing that goes to my mind a little bit, every kid that's 12, 13, 14, any expense knows the Jeter throw, right? You know that ball going into the 5-6 gap, and especially with the whole captain documentary series going on with ESPN, definitely maybe a little bit of that kind of look. But, I mean, honestly, it was still a lot, not one just for the ball to get there, but how far he threw away. I think he was maybe thinking a little bit too much at having to force that one and kind of just got away from him.
So Sponberg at second for Tanner Black, the left fielder. And there's a bunt, but it's back foul for strike one. Bombers would love to get off to a nice start after yesterday with Max Coughlin on the mound. They gave up 8 runs in the second inning to the Haymakers to fall into a massive deficit early on. Bombers will be throwing Zane Layden, who just started on Sunday but only went 2 2/3 innings.
Yeah, I think another question is going to be who's left. I mean, we thought about that last night. I really did not think we'd see Layden too much here today, but and maybe with the shorter performance up against the Haymakers, just 2 2/3 inning of work, maybe still warm here today.
Sponberg wants third, and he steals the base easily. A smooth slide into the bag, and stolen base number 20 for Danny Sponberg as he rips off third, and now an out can drive in a run for Tanner Black as he's behind 0-2.
Yeah, of all things for a guy to maybe take his head a little bit away from Sponberg, of all guys to do that's not the guy you want to do it to. And I think Fleeman still gave him a look, but didn't quite keep him on as much as he should. And Sponberg had a great jump off at first. He was really off on first movement and really no chance for even a solid throw behind home plate to get him.
Oh, 2 pitch to Black is low. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cole, the catcher. CJ Fleeman, last start was Monday against the Red Raiders. Last Monday went 5 innings, allowing 2 earned runs, striking out 3 on 68 pitches. And this is the first time the Bombers have seen him in 2022.
I think a big thing about that game was you talk about just the 3 strikeouts, and so many teams can be like, okay, a 3 strikeout day, not a blow-away guy, and that's really what we saw Drury in this last game being able to do, and Fleeman here be able to do the majority of this season, getting weak contact and allowing his defense to make a big play. Talking to Fleeman before this one, that was a big emphasis for him, making sure he's pounding the zone early and just understanding that sometimes you're going to have to allow the defense to make plays behind you because you can't get every out yourself.
So Black strikes out swinging, and now we'll see if there's some purple helmet magic in Brennan Cascio with Sponberg at third. And he takes upstairs ball 1. Cascio batting average of .326 coming in. He's tied for the team lead with 16 hard hit baseballs. And they've got him in the cleanup spot. After going 1 for 3, driving in a run and scoring a run last night, he fouls this one back, 1-1. Cascio has had a monster start to July. He's 8 for 16 in the month with a couple walks, a double, 3 runs batted in, and 7 runs to go with 4 stolen bases. Lighting up that score sheet. And he reaches out, hits this one down the right field line. That's a long run for Pomeroy, and he makes the catch, crossing the chalk. So Sponberg is left at third. Cascio flies out, and we'll go to the bottom of the first. Filthballers coming to bat against Zane Layden when we return on Tuesday Night Baseball. Bottom of the first inning, Filthballers at the dish against Zane Layden. Filthballers will start with Trevor Winterstein, center fielder. Their batting order, Winterstein, then Nolan Christensen, the extra hitter, second. Shortstop Jackson Horn, third. DH Brendan Anderson in cleanup spot as this is rolled to short. Brendan Cascio, a strong throw, and it is in time. Winterstein can't believe it, but he'll have to trot back to the dugout for the first out. Continuing with the batting order, Mitchell Pomeroy, the right fielder, fifth. First baseman Trace Mahachik, sixth. Second baseman Nick Repa, seventh. Left fielder Caden Matthewson, eighth. Third baseman Chase Deloach, ninth. And the catcher Anthony Pohl, 10th, as Nolan Christensen bats in the 2 spot.
Christensen, maybe a chance here to add on to a really strong day so far here in this one. I mean, that first game against the Black Sox, able to go 2 for 3 with 2 singles, but got caught in some way out at second base. One time caught stealing, and then another time caught back on a fielder's choice. But maybe a resurgence a little bit for Christensen if he can have a strong game up against these Black Sox again, or against these Bombers after having a strong day up against the Black Sox. And for a guy that didn't have a hit the entirety of July coming into today, a different way for him to find himself a little bit here in this one.
2-1 the count. You look at Zane Layden. His start on Sunday against the Haymakers went 2 2/3 innings, giving up 4 hits, 2 walks, 2 earned runs, only struck out 1. It was his shortest inning in terms of innings pitched, as that slapped down the right field line foul off the bat of Christensen. And for Layden, his second shortest outing pitch count wise. He had a 55 pitch outing in his first start of the year against the Red Raiders on June 9th, so he comes in with an ERA just under 4.
Yeah, that June 9th one, the only time that we've seen him out of the bullpen this season, but it's kind of been an odd July for him. He had a dominant stretch back-to-back games up against the Crop Dusters on June 13th, and then 6 days later against the Rail Riders on June 19th. There's 3 hits allowed, did not allow a run against the Crop Dusters, 5 strikeouts. And the Rail Riders just 6 days later, a 9-strikeout day, did not allow a run on just 4 hits and 3 walks. That's why he was slated as the pitcher of the week that week, and I think this is a matchup here, 2 pitchers and hitters of the week to about halfway to midway through June that since then have kind of struggled.
And Layden issues a walk to Nolan Christensen. So the Filthballers have their first base runner, and now Jackson Horn, the shortstop, once again batting third. And yet again batting in front of Brendan Anderson. So we talked about the 1-2 combo of Anderson and Hunter Babe in the 4-5 spots in Game 1 of the doubleheader. But now it's Horn and Anderson to focus on in the 3-4. We'll see what Mitchell Pomeroy can do handling the bat in the 5 spot. He was 0 for 1 in Game 1, as it's 0-1 on Horn. And that's outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Layden certainly has not been eager to come in on these Filthballer hitters. All of his misses are away to the right-hand bats. That's out over the plate, slapped into right field. Sponberg toward the line, and he makes the catch. Roaming into foul territory, and there's the second out.
Yeah, again, you mentioned it. Layden just really trying to work on the outer half the entirety of this one so far for the first 3 batters of this one. I think he'll probably do just the same thing after seeing what Brendan Anderson can do to inside fastballs this past game. Or is that long, majestic home run? Like, I think if you're Layden here, you can very arguably say you're going up against the best hitter in the Corn Belt League this season. Maybe it's time for him to, again, don't give too much to Anderson. If you lose him, you'll lose him. But make sure that you don't give anything that he can crush.
Anderson's first home run of the season, a solo shot in the 5th inning against the Black Sox as he takes one off the plate, ball 1. He's now driven in a league-leading 34 on the year. And he's 3 for 9 with a triple, 3 RBI, 4 runs against the Bombers this year. 1-0 pitch is in there on the outside corner.
And that's just an insane number to think about, right? 34 RBIs in 24 games. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, you don't see guys like Trout doing that a ton of nights, at least at the MLB level. I mean, it's just incredible to see the production that he's been able to bring out of the 3 and 4 spots. He's kind of moved back and forth between those 2 spots, but in the middle of the order, he has just dominated all season long. And the next best guy is almost 20 RBIs underneath him. That's just, there's that level there that's just way off the charts for Anderson.
Great jump from the runner Christensen, and he takes second base as the pitch was low and away. So 3-1 the count now on Anderson. And I think a lot of that has to do, Jaden, with the fact that Anderson has stayed right in the middle of that lineup all year long. We see with every team in the league a lot of shifting guys slotting in different spots in the lineup, but Anderson has stayed put in the middle of the order and the run producer spot in the order, and he's delivered, and right on cue, he singles to center field. Christensen is held at third, so Anderson will not collect RBI number 35, but he has another base hit. And that adds on to another stat for him that jumps off the page. Now a hit or an RBI in 20 out of 22 games. And you're just shaking your head.
What do you do against that? I mean, what do you do against that? I mean, it's not like that was a bad pitch. I mean, it was middle. It was middle, but it was low middle. I mean, you make one small mistake. You make one small mistake up against a guy like that, he's going to make you pay. I mean, you talk about sometimes pitchers being, a one guy, a two guy, a three guy, et cetera, right? A one mistake per at-bat guy, a two mistake at-bat guy, or a three mistake at-bat guy. You can be a one, sometimes even a zero mistake guy, and Brendan Anderson's going to figure a way to get a hit against you. It's just ridiculous.
There he goes towards second, but Layden catches onto it at the last moment, and they'll run him back, and Nico Saul will tag him out. And no chance for Christensen to score from third. So a mistake on the base pass for Brendan Anderson, just as we're talking up a storm on him. And we'll go to the second inning, scoreless between the Filthballers and the Bombers on the Corn Belt League Network. Top of the second inning, scoreless between the Bombers and the Filthballers here in Game 2 of our Tuesday Night Baseball doubleheader. And leading off the second for the Bombers is our Corn Belt League impact player, Nico Saul. And, Jade, not many guys can say that they've had success against the Filthballers this year at the plate with the way they pitch, the way they can finish games so quickly with mercy rules, putting up runs at the plate. But Nico's done exactly that. He's been a hot, consistent hitter for the Bombers this year.
Yeah, I think when we were talking last night, what we wanted to really show off here today was who were going to be the guys that could really put something up against the Filthballers pitching staff, who has been so dominant this season. Spencer Crane had a really good day and has had a really good season up against the Filthballers. And the other guy on the other end here for the Bombers has been Nico Saul. He's a guy kind of the left spot that gets barrels just like that.
There he goes, pulling one down the right field line. That drifts into foul territory. And Saul goes into second base with a double. He tripled in his final at bat last night, and he has another extra base hit on the very first pitch of the second inning.
And again, the middle of the order has been so dominant for the Filthballers. Again, I think really the only two other teams that I can compare the middle of the order and the strengths that they have been the Black Sox here when we started off the day between Zwiener, Crane, and Young. That three for them. And then here for the Bombers in between, you see Saul, Julin, and Olson. Those kind of 3-4 guys in the middle of the order, when they're able to find the pop, when they're able to find the barrel, they have really successful days.
Showing bunt and taking strike one. Gage Julian, the catcher, Saul's 4th double of the year, and he's been somewhat hot and cold coming into this one. He was 1 for 9 with 7 strikeouts in his last 3 games coming in, but at the same time, he had been hitting well against the Filthballers, and he had driven in 8 and scored 10 in his last 12 games, so been a mixed bag for him, but he's off to a fine start and a chance for Julian to drive him in. And he hits it high in the air left field. Saul will retreat to the bag as the catch is made by Caden Mathewson, getting the start in left field tonight, 1 down.
Julian's kind of been a guy that just kind of been streaky here and there. He'll have really good nights. He started off the year with really a first week that was pretty impeccable to some of the top other guys in the league. It was kind of between him and Christensen in that first week for hitter of the week. A 2-hit day, a single and a home run against the Rail Riders, and also a Filthballers and Red Raiders day with both a hit in that one. But since then, it's kind of been a struggle. The only big night outside of that for him is on July 10th up against the Rail Riders, a 2-single day for him. But he's just kind of struggled being able to find his rhythm too much.
Grounded to short by Braden Olson. Saul gets over to third, and the throw is completed by Jackson Horn for out number 2.
Again, Fleeman, you got to emphasize being able to get guys to miss. Cannot allow too many barrels. He gives up a barrel on really a middle fastball to start off the inning to Saul, and he gets beat. But now, again, right, you're getting guys to just miss off the end of the bat, just a little bit under it. And now you're able to maybe put yourself in a little bit more comfortable position.
So here's Caleb Lemon, the second baseman, with yet again a runner at third and 2 away. Bombers left Danny Sponberg there in the first. As Fleeman's first pitch to Lemon is in there, off-speed pitch for strike 1. Caleb Lemon 0 for 2 with a walk and a strikeout last night against the Haymakers. He leads the team with 19 hits coming into the evening. But he waves and misses. Good looking changeup low and away from Fleeman, and he's ahead 0-2. Lemon also tied for the team lead with 4 2-out runs batted in. Middle infielders playing deep. Corners guarding the lines. As that's on the ground to third, right to Chase DeLoach, who fires wildly. Tried to put a lot of extra gas on that throw, and it gets away from a hot check, and that brings in Saul, and it takes Caleb Lemon to second base. 1-0 Bombers on an error on the infield.
Now, another play right there. Again, DeLoach definitely probably not too used to playing third base out there. I haven't seen him much at all at that hot corner spot, and was able to pick it up nicely, but threw a little bit too hard of a ball over to first and got away from a hot chick. And Fleeman, again, you can't really blame too much on him. He's been able to get the outs that are needed here so far, but it's kind of been a struggle defensively. That kind of play right there just going to hurt you after giving up a double, just different pieces to move guys over. And when you put balls in play, it can help you out. And case in point right there with Caleb Lemon.
Kyle Weber, the DH, steps in and goes after the first pitch, fouling it back. Filthballers with 2 errors, both throwing errors from the left side of their infield. Jackson Horn on a play that could not have been made in the first inning, and then DeLoach on a much more manageable play here in the second inning, and both have been with speedy base runners going down the line, and with the throw getting away, they have been unable to take second base. Now Lemon wants to steal third, and he just beats the throw. So 2 times now for the Bombers, we see them reach on an error, go to second on the throw, and then steal third. Sponberg in the first, Lemon in the third. Second at the second.
Yeah, and both of those stolen bases at third. Fleeman back-to-back pitches with just a 2 look. So, again, sometimes you'll have guys that you've seen him, okay, you're out at second. He's the same kind of look, Looks back once, back-to-back times, back-to-back pitches, something like that. Looks twice, right? You'll relay that to other guys to say, okay, here's what's coming next.
Weber pops out to Mahacek on a running play in foul territory, and we go to the bottom of the second. Bombers are on the board first with a 1-0 lead. Filthballers looking to respond when we return on Tuesday Night Baseball. First pitch from Zane Layden to Mitchell Pomeroy is grounded to deep short, and Pomeroy legs it out for his first Corn Belt League hit. As Zane Layden gives up his second consecutive single. And the leadoff man is on for the Filthballers here in the second, trailing 1-0. Back here for Tuesday Night Baseball, second game of our doubleheader. Filthballers took the first game over the Black Sox 6-3, securing the Corn Belt League regular season championship. Tyler Reidy and Jaden Taylor with you once again on a beautiful Tuesday night in Omaha. As that's inside ball one to Trace Mahacek, the first baseman.
Again, I think it'll be interesting here how the Filthballers answer after giving up that one run on the air. I mean, it was really an inning that Fleeman easily could have gotten out of. But the ball that got away from DeLoach kind of hurt them a little bit.
Pop to shallow left center. That's down for a hit. 3 straight singles for the Filthballers. And the first 2 have reached in the bottom of the second. Pomeroy and Mahacek, and here comes Nick Repa with an RBI opportunity.
And it's going to be much needed for Nick Repa. He's been really the one and just about only piece that has really struggled all season long for the Filthballers. He's going to be a guy that definitely needs to maybe figure his way out through these last couple of games to see if he can maybe set himself up as possibly a starter here in the postseason. He's been incredible defensively, just the bat hasn't quite been there.
And there's some tough luck. He lines it right to short. They can't get the double play as Casio caught it and flipped quickly to Lemon, race into the bag. Pomeroy is back in safely. Repa didn't get a ton on that ball, but had he gotten under it just a bit more, would have dropped it into the left center and at least loaded the bases, but instead 2 on 1 out for Caden Mathewson.
And again, 2 out of 4 guys they're going to see here in this lineup, here in this inning, that will kind of new additions here for the Filthballers these last couple of weeks. A couple guys that have shown off speed, but trying to see off glances how they can help out this team.
Base hit right field. Sponberg comes up throwing. Pomeroy coming home, and the throw is high and up the third base line. Tie game at 1 on the RBI single from Caden Mathewson. He goes first pitch hunting and evens us at 1.
Yeah, again, this has just kind of been the problem at times for Zane Layton, just leaving balls a little bit too much over the middle of the plate, and for a team that has so many guys that can get you beat on a barrel, it can be a real big trouble for your starter in Layton. Again, this season he's surely given up a lot of hard hit balls, so just about a 35% hard hit ball percentage. And a lot of times you really want that to be below 30, really, kind of low to mid-20s is where you'd like it as a starter, but it's kind of added and grown on here as the Filthballers looking to continue to get something rolling here in the second.
1-0 to third baseman Chase DeLoach. He takes outside again. 2 balls, no strikes. For Caden Mathewson, that was just his 4th at-bat of the season, and he drives in his first run of the year. Used more so as a courtesy runner, as he was multiple times in Game 1 of the doubleheader against the Sox. 2-0 pitch. DeLoach lines it. Base hit left center field. They'll hold the runner. Mahacek at third. Everybody moves up 90 feet, and the Filthballers have come out swinging with the bottom half of their order in the second inning. 4 singles to load them up with 1 out.
Yeah, again, I'd say this is a point to where you got to go out and maybe put somebody in the bullpen, but that's been the biggest struggle for the Bombers this season. Who can be available to help out the starters this year? And there hasn't been a lot of them. And bullpen ERA, above 8, which is not what you want to have. So we'll see, even on short rest, how long they're going to go with Layton, as he's going to have to really fight, at least keep this one within distance. Again, still a tie ball game, and a double play still available defensively, but he's really thrilled being able to kind of not give things right over the heart of the plate to some really good hitters.
And Pohl waves and misses, down 0-2. He is a top-tier double play candidate with a team-leading 68% ground ball rate, batting average below 200, and he's hitting just .091 with runners in scoring position this year, so a great opportunity for Layden to at least get closer to limiting the damage, as it's now 1-2. Pull out of Jackson College. Rounding out the bottom of this Filthballers order. Pops one back foul over the Bombers' dugout and toward the bullpen. Still 1-2. Already 5 base hits for the Filthballers. 2 for the Bombers. Filthballers have committed 2 errors already. There's another 1-2 pitch. Laden to pull. That is upstairs. 2-2 the count. Mahachik at third, Mathewson at second, and Deloach at first base. Two balls, 2 strikes. Foul back again.
We ask that you please run all foul balls to the first or third base.
And a really good team AB right in here from Anthony Pohl. Just, again, every single pitch that just seems to be borderline that isn't quite like, he just keeps slapping it away. Give himself another chance to find a ball that he likes.
Layden really trying to spot that lower outside part of the strike zone. As both pitcher and hitter step off ahead of a 2-2 pitch. Already an RBI single from Cade Mathewson in the inning to tie the game at 1, and that one is inside. Count runs full to Anthony Pohl, the catcher, and Layden really has to make a pitch here because he got the top of the order. Winterstein, then Christensen due up next.
Plus, you'd walk in a run.
Exactly. That is down the line, and instead, Pohl will hit in a couple runs. Mahachik and Mathewson score. It's a 3-1 lead on a 2-run single for the Filthballers, their 5th single of the inning.
Again, those are those kind of situations when you get down in counts, right? Just an incredible job right there from Deloach just to keep slapping things away, keep himself alive, then forces the full count. And if you're Layden, right, again, you mentioned the top of the order is back up. You walk in a run if you give up a ball outside the zone. So then he just laid one way too much over the heart of the plate. Deloach liked it and drove it down the left field line.
Please, courtesy runner at first base from University of Sioux Falls.
Courtesy runner at first, Isaac Bonner from the University of Sioux Falls.
Number 42, Trevor Winterstein.
Now Trevor Winterstein digs in, grounded out to shortstop in the first. And he takes up and away ball 1. But, man, how about 3 combined RBI from the 8 and 10 hitters, Mathewson and Pohl. A couple guys that don't get a ton of looks in this loaded Filthballer lineup, but they are delivering here tonight. 1-1 the count on Winterstein.
Again, this just mentions the depth this team has. 4 new guys in this lineup, 6 of total guys in the lineup are in different spots here today in this second game. So many guys able to produce when needed.
Out at second, and it is a double play. Boy, Winterstein sure looks safe to me, but the umpire making the call from second base rules him out, and it's a 4-6-3 double play to get the Bombers out of the inning, but they do give up 3, and the Filthballers take a 3-1 lead, headed to the top of the 3rd on the Corn Belt League Network. Top of the third inning. Dusk settling in here at JJ Isaacson Field on a clear, picture-perfect Tuesday night. Tyler Reidy and Jaden Taylor with you for the back end of our Tuesday night doubleheader. Bombers and Filthballers. Filthballers lead at 3-1. As CJ Fleeman is back on the mound after allowing a run in the top of the second inning, and he gets a swinging strikeout to the extra hitter, Philip Jordan, batting 10th.
Again, Fleeman, we talk about it. How can he adjust here? The biggest thing from him has been minimizing, right? He gave up that single, then the air to Spongberg, then the double to Nico Saul, and did a really good job being able to answer back after those two. A strikeout and then a fly out to right from Black and Cassio in the first, then right after that, a fly out to left and a ground to short from Julian and Olsen. Just the only thing that's really hurt him was that error defensively on Chase DeLoach.
That allowed Caleb Lemon to reach and brought in Nico Saul after the double you mentioned. 1-2 now on Philip Jordan. If you're just joining us in game one of the doubleheader, Filthballers picked up their 20th win of their season and clinched Corn Belt League regular season title and the #1 seed in the playoffs. As there's a cut and a miss. Jordan down on strikes to lead off the third, and now back to James Grease at the top of the order.
Again, it's just such a dominant way for Fleeman to be able to establish that outside, right? You really saw that a lot with Layden, right? He was trying to really work his fastball in the outer half, try to get guys to kind of push it away on the end cap, but Fleeman's kind of been working both in and out. He's been able to really mix up his pitches a little bit, and that's kind of been the most dangerous thing from him is how well he's been able to locate the entirety of the way in the zone.
Second strikeout for Fleeman, both swinging. He fires ball one to James Grease, who flew out to right in the first. Grease 1 for 8 with 3 walks coming in against the Filthballers. Bombers a record of 12-11, Filthballers 20-4, and that is a base hit into center field. Took a weird kick as it was near the second base bag, but still no chance for Horn to track it down. And it's a base hit with 1 out for James Grease.
Again, good way to start off the top of the order, right? You're seeing Fleeman for the second time around and giving off to a couple guys in the middle heart of the order to be able to find a way to answer back in this one. Again, it's 3 runs this past inning, but we've seen the Bombers offense able to do some damage at times to some different guys, and this is kind of a big opportunity here, although early in this one, a way to chip away and keep this one a close ball game.
Grease 9 stolen bases on the year over at first base, and now it is Danny Spongberg. And he takes up and away ball 1. Spongberg singled, infield single in the first, then moved up to second on an error and stole third for his league-leading 20th stolen base of the year. 20 out of 21. He takes another one up and away, 2-0, and that base hit extended Spongberg's hit streak to 6 games. He's 9 for 15 now during that 6-game span with 8 stolen bases. Filthballers have held him in check, keeping him into 1 for 8 line with just 1 stolen base. Grease takes off, pitch is swung on and missed, and it's a high looping throw that is not in time. And James Grease picks up stolen base number 10.
Yeah, multiple guys out there thought they had Grease a little bit, just barely able to get the fingertips into the bag on that one. And now again with the really strong hit at the top of the order, now you have a chance to bring in a runner here with the runner in scoring position, just 1 out. And I really think here, if you're Spongberg, try to find something in the outer half, push it the other way, a really big right center gap as well as a 3-4 hole.
2-1 on Spongberg. And he takes one in the dirt. Pole blocks it, 3-1, and Bombers already with 3 stolen bases tonight. That is one thing that they bring to the table more so than just about any other team in the league. The speed on the base paths. We know about their defensive outfield with Grease, Spongberg, Black, a collection of tremendous catches and plays out there this year.
Yeah, and again, that's just one piece of their offense that has been so big for them that has just really wreaked havoc, not just on the base paths, but you mentioned defensively as well. And Spongberg just about threw the bat again. Don't want to have that a second time here today.
3-2 the count now. It's Chase Deloach, the third baseman for the Filthballers, that flung the bat on a 3-ball pitch earlier, and instead of a walk, the home plate umpire ruled it a strike, and he had to awkwardly come back into the batter's box. Now 3-2 on Spongberg. Grease dancing around off second, and now he takes off, and a late swing from Spongberg. Grease does take the bag at third. Spongberg strikes out. It's another stolen base, the fourth for the Bombers, and the second consecutively for Grease, 2 down.
Yeah, I honestly think Spongberg was a little bit thrown off by Grease running to third. I'm not sure if maybe he was confused if he had missed a hit and run sign or something like that, but just kind of a half swing as the ball was threw into the air, and really nothing you can do with that one. But again, Grease, I think whatever's going on out there at second base, they have found the timing up against Fleeman, especially out there at second. And you talk a lot of times, really, the ability to steal third is a lot of times a lot harder. But here today, I really think that the Bombers have just found something in Fleeman's delivery that they can pick up on and take third pretty easily.
Pohl, the catcher, is fairly in the middle of the pack in terms of throwing out base runners. Coming into the day, they were 11 for 13 stealing bases against him. As that is up and away, 2-0. As it's Tanner Black, the left fielder, struck out swinging in the first. 3 strikeouts now for C.J. Fleeman. Grease at third. He singled and has stolen both second and third. And that one is off the plate. 3 balls, no strikes.
Yeah, if you're Fleeman here, you got to figure a way to climb the ladder here. And you have a base open, but you're now going to the middle of this order here. Who's been dangerous this season. Kind of been quiet here just today outside Nico Saul's double, but got to find a way to get this last out and keep it a 2-run lead.
Does find the strike zone. 3-1 now on Black. Brennan Cascio, the shortstop, is on deck. He'll be followed by Nico Saul. And it's chopped right out in front of the plate. Basically a swinging bunt and a strong throw to first. Gets him. Solid play by C.J. Fleeman coming off the mound and fielding his position, and he holds the Bombers scoreless, again stranding a runner at third as the Filthballers take a 3-1 lead to the bottom of the third inning on Tuesday Night Baseball. Bottom of the third inning. Filthballers 3, Bombers 1. Game 2 of our Tuesday night baseball broadcast. Tyler Reidy and Jaden Taylor with you on the Corn Belt League Network. As Nolan Christensen leads off against Zane Layden, working into his third inning. He allowed 3 runs, all of them earned in the bottom of that second. Christensen waves and misses strike 1.
And again, even on short rest, I really think Coach Austin Alexander and these Bombers are really going to have to lean on Layden really heavily for the majority of this one.
Christensen gets the same pitch, a slider down and away, this time lays off. 1 ball, 1 strike. And now Reidy with the 1-1 pitch. Another slider. Christensen spoils it off. 1-2. Christensen walked, stole second base in the first. It was left at third when Brendan Anderson was caught stealing with 2 down. And he strikes out looking. Christensen down to begin the bottom of the third, and now Jackson Horn steps in with 1 away.
Now batting, the shortstop.
In back-to-back times in 2 games, the 2 strikeouts that we've seen Christensen kind of give away have been 2 times that he's kind of guessed a little bit so far. The back-to-back-to-back curveballs earlier in this one up against Madden, and then right there just kind of got fooled on the fastball that just worked in the outer half. I think after seeing so many off-speeds on those 0-2s that we've seen from him here today going up against both Madden and Wallingford, now Layton, he was probably expecting another one, but just the fastball that perfectly edged the outer half.
So now Jackson Horn gets ahead, 2 balls and no strikes. Horn a fly out to right field in the first. And he watches that one in for strike 1. Horn out of Southeast Community College. A couple in-state players with Zane Layden from Bellevue University. As that is on the outside corner, framed well by Julin, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, I think it's been fun to see how many Bellevue guys have actually gone through this Bombers group. 8 different guys from Bellevue University, and add on a 9th with their head coach.
Full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Brendan Anderson, the ever dangerous DH on deck, as the 3-2 pitch to Horn is reached out, grounded to first, and Saul has it eat him up. Lemon with a second effort, but not nearly in time to get Horn, and that will almost certainly be scored an error against the Bombers, and it lets a man aboard for Brendan Anderson.
I think we talked about it this past game for the Black Sox going up against the Filthballers, but you saw that Peyton Blinn error, right? Some of those small things that you just cannot do up against a team like this that is so dangerous, especially when you're going up against a guy like Brendan Anderson. It's a lot more comfortable when there's nobody on and 2 outs. So definitely a different situation. We have a speedy runner in Jackson Horn at first and such a big power threat in Brendan Anderson with just 1 out.
Outside ball 1, Anderson a single and was caught stealing in the first. Looks down to third base for the sign from head coach Johnston Hobbs as the throw over somehow bounces away from Saul, and there's a lot of foul territory here, but Horn will get second base, and that's it. So he moves into scoring position for the main RBI man, Anderson. So back-to-back errors, just 2 pitches apart for the Bombers, and they're not doing themselves any favors. Already difficult enough to keep up with the Filthballers. Now the 1-0 pitch to Anderson. Slider on the plate, 1 ball, 1 strike.
And I like the way that Layden's worked up against Anderson so far. He was trying to really work to make sure Horn didn't get anywhere too quickly, but 2 off speed now. We'll see if he goes to it again.
Outside corner, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Anderson steps out for a moment. Now back in, ready to go.
Cannot give him anything. You have to make sure he chases here.
And he goes up and away. Anderson can't catch up to the fastball after seeing a few off-speed pitches. And good sequence from Zane Layden, making the arguably the best hitter in the Corn Belt League. Quite powerless in that AB. He strikes out swinging. And that is strikeout number 2, both in the inning for Zane Layden. Right fielder Mitchell Pomeroy lays off for ball 1. That slider down and away again. Layden has really leaned on that pitch.
Yeah, he's definitely doing kind of what a lot of guys do when you see that second time through the order, kind of working backwards up against some of these guys, because I mean, that was the kind of issue this past inning in those 3 runs. The fastball would just hang up a little bit too far in the middle of the plate, and the guy right here who started it, and Pomeroy, was just one of 3 or 4 guys that just found the barrel and found green grass in the outfield.
In the dirt, 3 balls, no strikes. Layden not giving Pomeroy anything to hit. He singled and scored back in the second. His first Corn Belt League hit, his first Corn Belt League run. As he takes a strike, well placed on the outside corner, 3-1. Horn still at second. He reached on Nico Saul's fielding error and then got to second base on Zane Layden's throwing error on a pickoff move. And that's hit hard to short and could not be picked by Casio. This will score Horn from second and make it 4-1 Filthballers. RBI single, Mitchell Pomeroy, his first Corn Belt League RBI. Boy, he's having a night.
Yeah, 2 for 2, and both balls were really barreled up. A really good job. And again, when we thought the Filthballers couldn't get even better, they do. They add on another guy that is just able to come through in big moments, and right there, Pomeroy did. And, man, I mean, what did the Filthballers not have? I mean, a beautiful pitching staff to start off the year, guys in the middle of the order that are dominant, a top of the order that has been pretty consistent this season between Winterstein, Christensen at times. Seen a couple guys as well. The bullpen's been great. The defense has been superb. There's just really no question marks for this Filthballer team.
0-1 the count on Trace Mahachik. And now 0-2. I think the only thing that the Filthballers would need to complete them is just that epic dream team would be a live pig as their mascot coming to every game. I don't know about you, but
yes, we saw that opening day.
Yeah,
right out of the ballpark.
I wasn't here opening day.
I know. Sometimes you gotta stop going to KC.
Yeah, I know.
Gotta be here.
Yep. Well, I'm here tonight.
There you go.
But there are no baseball games in KC tonight. 1 ball and 2 strikes to count on Mahachik.
San Alcantara's doing pretty good though.
How good? What is the stat line? I haven't seen that
I
yet.
gotta look. I just know it was back-to-back strikeouts to start it off with.
Oh, there you go.
Cannot complain.
Just outside 2-2. A little bit of extra life, an arm side run on that fastball, but doesn't get back to the outside corner.
And it kind of has that two-seam movement at times. It shakes a little bit when you're working really at the hitter's perspective. But now again, Layden's got to find a way to minimize, get out of this inning.
Slider that hung just a little bit, but jams up Mahachik, and he pops out to shallow left center. And the Filthballers add on another run. They take a 4-1 lead as we head to the 4th. Bombers have a mountain to climb when we return on the Corn Belt League Network. Top of the fourth inning,
Leading off.
Bombers and Filthballers on Tuesday Night Baseball. It's a 4-1 lead for the newly crowned regular season champion Filthballers, 4-1. Their lead over the Bombers as C.J. Fleeman continues to work. He's thrown 3 innings, giving up 1 unearned run. And he'll face Cassio, Saul, and Julin, the 4, 5, and 6 hitters. Swinging strike 1 to Cassio.
That's that changeup, right? You come from the left side, that 84 to 85 mile an hour fastball that he just been able to pin on the outer half. Then just, it looks like it's coming the same out of the hand, but then just dies right out in front of him. And Cassio way out in front of that ball.
Now 1-1 the count. Cassio a fly out to right field to end the top of the first. In each of the first 3 innings, the Bombers have left a runner stranded at third base. He did score 1 in the second as Nico Sell doubled and then came around to score with Caleb Lemon reaching on an error. And now this is hit high in the air to right. And for a second consecutive time, Cassio flies out to right field as Mitchell Pomeroy hauls it in.
And again, it may just be me right now, but even with just a 3-run ball game, this game really right now, just the momentum just seems to be entirely on the Filthballers right now. It just seems like the Bombers just can't quite get the offense going. Their only run here today was really just on a double by this guy right here, Nico Saul, in an error. And past that, Fleeman just been dominant on the mound so far. But again, it just hasn't quite seemed like Layden has gotten back to his early June ways, and Fleeman's back and dominant as ever.
And the Bombers already 4 stolen bases in the first 3 innings, but you can steal all the bags you want. If you can't come up with the clutch hits, it's not going to make a difference, and so far they haven't. Nico Saul with the only extra base hit, a double to lead off the second.
And I honestly just love the way Saul is just able to swing the bat. He just got such a pure swing when he comes from that left side. You really see that a lot with lefties, just that kind of pure swing.
Chops one out to first, and he's retired by Mahacek. A quick 2 outs for C.J. Fleeman, looking for his first 1-2-3 inning. And yeah, you're right. Saul is a guy that I would say looks hitterish. I don't know if you've heard that expression before, but he's just got a nice, steady stance from that left side of the box. And
like, why? I just know what it is. Why does a lot of times? Why does so many lefties just have a beautiful swing? I mean, you're talking like if you want to talk MLB level, Cano, Griffey. Different other guys from the left side. It just looks so more pure from the left side and the right side. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah. I don't know. I was a left-hand batter myself back when I played. I don't think my swing was that great, but yeah, you're exactly right. We don't usually talk about a really pure, beautiful right-hand swing, as that's ball 1 to a right-hand hitter, Gage Julin. He flew out to left field in the second.
It just seems like at the right side, it's just so – you talk about power guys from the right side, right? It's just so more – I don't want to say like hammer ball, but, it just seems like it's a powerful force every time. As a lefty power hitter, it's just so smooth. It's graceful to an extent.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of it. It might have anything to do with the fact that as a lefty, you're just kind of running straight down the line, whereas a righty, you have to go across the plate. But that's more on the back end of the swing. That's fouled straight back. 2-1 on Gage Julin. Fleeman looking for his first 1-2-3 inning of the night. Getting plenty of run support, as just about any Filthballer starter would on a given night. 4-1 the score in the top of the fourth. As that is fouled back again by Julin, 2-2. See the strong crowd on hand for a mighty fine Tuesday evening. Heat has died down with the setting sun. And the lights on at JJ Isaacson Field. 2-2 the count. 2 outs in the inning. As Fleeman's pitch is poked into shallow right center. And the second baseman, Nick Ripa, makes the catch. 3 up, 3 down in the top of the fourth. And we head to the bottom half. Filthballers 4, Bombers 1 on the Corn Belt League Network.
no matter what your age, skill level, or position. Your baseball season begins at the Strike Zone. Featuring state-of-the-art batting cages, group and private instruction, the Strike Zone provides athletes all the training and equipment you need to get your game to the next level. Give the gift of development to your baseball or softball player. Purchase your Strike Zone gift cards today. Baseball never ends at the Strike Zone.
Back here at JJ Isaacson Field over at Iowa Western, Rail Riders and Red Raiders are in the bottom of the 7th inning, and it's 8-3 Rail Riders. And Caleb Schramm for the Red Raiders just hit an inside the park home run to draw it from 8-2 to 8-3 as Zane Layden fires strike one to Nick Repa, the second baseman. You look at that game. It was 1-0 Red Raiders through 3, but then 2 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, and 5 in the 7th from the Rail Riders to blow the doors off, as it's now 0-2. Tanner Versalino got the start for the Red Raiders, going 4 1/3, 2 runs, one of them earned. The problem on the mound for them was TJ Swaney didn't get an out and gave up 5 runs, 4 of them earned, as it's 1-2 on Repa. And then pitching for the Rail Riders, it was Riley Lane going 5 innings and 1 unearned run, 4 strikeouts, so a strong night for him. As that is lined right back to the mound, and Zane Layden with some quick reflexes makes the catch. 1 down. That was ticketed for center field.
Yeah, back-to-back nights where the reflexes were on a showing. Spongberg last night with a diving play out and right there, I think there's really nothing you can do right there. Put out your glove and hope it goes in the glove, and Layden put it out perfectly and gotten back to the mitt for the first out. And those can be really scary coming back at you.
Strike one to Cade Mathewson. Jaden, I know through your years as a pitcher, I don't know if you've ever caught a comebacker before, or at least had one go right past you, but just what's the feeling like in those few seconds after it is in your glove or whizzes by you, and there's another one, a snow cone that time, as Caden Mathewson is robbed. 2 away.
I've never had it back-to-back. I've never had it back-to-back right at me. I've been hit in the chest before. I've caught him before, and I've been hit off the shin before.
Ooh.
But shin was probably the worst. Because the shin's the worst one because, like, you're in that moment, right? If it hits off of you, you want to know where the ball is going to go and you want to make the play. But with a shin, right, it hits off your shin, and then you're just – it's entirely instinctual, right? So you're just trying to go find the ball, and you get back up, and it just doesn't quite work out. But it coming right back at you, that's the kind of thing. It's entirely instinctual. There's really – nothing there that's skill. It's just put out the glove, find where it's at. If you really have just maybe a tenth of a second to really see where that ball is going to come. You see it well, but it's just whether or not you can get yourself up in a glove there in time.
Right field and a diving try from Danny Spawnberg. He can't come up with it. Deloach has wheels. He hesitates at second and now gets into third with a triple. Spawnberg trying to make a heroic play in right field again. Laid out going toward the line, but could not make the grab. And it ends up being a 3-bagger with 2 outs.
And that's what speed does for you, right? For Deloach there, that one easily could have been just an easy, just little duck snort out into right field that drops for a single. But Sponger diving there kind of had nobody behind him to be able to get that ball. Just Deloach was able to go to second, but then kind of got coaxed around by the third baseman to head to third. And even after stopping a little bit, heading to second, was still able to show off his speed and get to third safely.
So now it's Anthony Pohl taking strike one. Pohl had the biggest hit of the night, 2-run single back in the second. And as he rolls this one to short, big hop for Casio, and he throws for the third out. So this time it's the Filthballers stranding a runner at third, and Zane Latham, with some help from his own glove and his own defense, takes it to the 5th inning. 4-1 Filthballers on Tuesday Night Baseball. Top of the 5th inning, Filthballers lead the Bombers 4-1, and look who it is out there in the bullpen, Rebecca Lair, who threw 3 scoreless innings in the 9-3 loss last night, is getting warm. And Jaden, I was telling you during the break here, if she can go maybe 2-3 scoreless innings out of the bullpen, she, as somebody who hadn't pitched this year before last night, could be up in the running for Pitcher of the Week.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible to think that probably hasn't pitched in a while in her career, but comes out last night in a much-needed position to where the Bombers really had nobody else left in their bullpen. She was able to come out and get some really strong innings. You mentioned the 3 scoreless innings, but the biggest thing for her is that she was just able to get consistent weak contact. Actually ended up getting 2 strikeouts as well, but again, I think definitely looking forward, you have to at least see for her that she's at least somewhat of a viable option out of the bullpen, which has struggled so much this season, and see what maybe she can do down this stretch if she can maybe work up against the top team in this league.
Josh Poston, the catcher, was warming up out there as well. Strike one on Braden Olson.
With a catcher's glove.
Yep, with a catcher's mitt.
I know Josh. I played with Josh 14U ball. He is a very funny, very interesting guy, and he would be the guy to only have a catcher's glove and go out there and pitch with the catcher's glove, and I'd love to see that.
0-2 on Braden Olson. And a swing and a miss. C.J. Fleeman with the strikeout. That's his 4th. And on 3 pitches, 1 out in the 5th.
Now batting, the second baseman from Concordia University, number 77, Caleb Lemon.
And we have a final over at Iowa Western. Rail Riders take down the Red Raiders 8-3. Riley Lane, the winning pitcher, 5 innings, just 1 unearned run allowed. He struck out 4. And the Red Raiders just continue to struggle trying to get out of the basement of this league, along with the Crop Dusters. Of course, all 8 teams make the playoffs, but you're really asking for trouble when you get matched up with the Filthballers or the Black Sox come postseason time, as it's 0-1 on Caleb Lemon.
And again, you could say that there's some teams that have been able to make it interesting up against the Filthballers, and both times that there's been interesting games, it was the Crop Dusters and the Red Raiders. Their second game, of course, in that doubleheader this past week. But I got to think, if you're the Filthballers as we're getting towards postseason time, those are games, these next couple of games is, you've locked up the 1 seed going into the playoffs. See where different guys can move in different positions, right? See who you can be comfortable with, but make sure that, 1, your entire arsenal is truly ready for postseason time, and then 2, making sure that you're not overlooking anybody in front of you.
2-1 the count on Caleb Lemon. Make it 3-1 as it's just outside. Lemon reached on an error and stole 3rd in the 2nd inning. He was the second of 3 Bombers to be stranded at third base in this game. CJ Fleeman worked a 1-2-3 fourth inning and has retired the last 6. But that streak comes to an end as he misses low for a walk. Lemon is aboard with 1 down. That brings up the DH Kyle Weber. Pop out to first in the second inning for him.
Number 3, Kyle Weber.
Weber has gone deep this year against the Filthballers. And it was a grand slam just about a week and a half ago on July 8th. 2 for 9 this year against the number 1 team in the league. And Fleeman throws over to first. Lemon, as I said, has already stolen third base once tonight.
Another piece out of this Bombers order that has a speed threat. And again, I think if you want to say one big theme of you're categorizing some of these teams here this season, the Bombers have been the team with the most speed. That's been their really biggest threat so far. They have the hitting pieces there. It's just when they get on base, how quickly they can be. You talked about Grease. You talked about Spongberg. Lemon's been a guy also. You're seeing Nico Saul able to steal a bag a couple of times here. Kyle Weber, who you're seeing here, has also been a speed threat at times. But there's so many different guys that have been able to get great jumps and find ways to get their own bag, if you will.
Fleeman consistently missing outside with that fastball to the right-hand hitters. He's fallen behind 3-0 now after the walk to Caleb Lemon.
I think it'll be interesting to see who they're going to go up against next if they want to allow somebody else to work either the rest of this 5th or the 6th or 7th. I guess it would most likely be Theo Hughes.
Just sent him out there, number 5 in green in the bullpen.
Yeah, Theo probably one of 2 guys we'll see here in the doubleheader for the Filthballers coming out of the bullpen from Nebraska Westland. It's kind of been the same setup for those 2 between him and Noah Wing. Hughes will really start up the setup guy, then Wing will close this past season. And maybe kind of the same case here for Coach Hobbs and these Filthballers.
3 balls, 1 strike. Kyle Weber takes, and it is low. Apologies, it was 2-1 there, not 3-1. So now 3-1 the count. Lemon at first base. And Fleeman's pitch is off the plate, and that is ball 4. Back-to-back walks. And now 2 on, 1 out for Phillip Jordan, the bottom of the order.
Yeah, again, we talked about it a little bit. I think we talked about in between innings how this game is really felt entirely Filthballers right now, but I love the plate now. The tying run here in the 5th and just 1 out, so a really big chance for the Bombers to kind of maybe shake up the Filthballers, who I don't want to say have been sleeping a little bit, but just have not quite seen that same energy that 1 we saw in that first game and 2 we saw in these first 2 innings of this one. They've kind of slowed down a little bit, and this may be a learning lesson if the Bombers are able to figure a way back into this one of making sure that you're really fully keeping the foot on the pedal throughout all 7 innings.
So first and second, 1 out for Phillip Jordan, the extra hitter. Jordan 1 for 4 with a double, couple walks against the Filthballers this year. Lefty-lefty matchup with Fleeman. And that is way upstairs, ball 1. Fleeman hadn't walked anybody through his first 4 1/3 innings, but now back-to-back free passes in the 5th.
Again, that's just really uncharacteristic of Fleeman, who just came into this one in 7 appearances, just 9 walks. He's got a guy that just does not miss outside the zone too much, but for a day like this, which has been a really humid, hot day, very likely could be a little bit of fatigue here.
Jordan looks that one in, and it is a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Lemon at second, Weber at first. Both of them run well. Top of the order, James Grease in the on-deck circle. 1-1 pitch from Fleeman. In the dirt. Blocked by Anthony Pohl, 2-1. Inning started with a strikeout of Braden Olson. It was the 4th K for C.J. Fleeman on the night. But the command has been spotty ever since. Two-one, and it's inside to Jordan. 3-1, and Fleeman is in danger of walking 3 straight. Again, Theo Hughes is up in the Filthballer bullpen, and
41, Cole Nordine.
This is actually Cole Nordine. Sorry, I wanted to add that on.
oh yep, Cole Nordine at the plate, pinch hitting for Phillip Jordan.
Yeah, he was another guy that had a pretty big last week. He was actually our hitter of the week 2 weeks ago, and had a 6-for-8 week. There's only so many guys. It was a really dominant pitching week. Had 3 or 4 guys that kind of were in the conversation that could easily take in the job. It was actually a split vote between Urban and a couple of guys, including Sturkovich, a couple of guys to the Black Sox as well. But Nordine was kind of the main favorite for the Bombers as the hit of the week and able to win it. And back-to-back walks and bases loaded here. And I think this very well could be the day for Fleeman, who's really struggled here in this inning.
So Nordine takes a walk to add on to his team best 486 on base percentage, and now they're loaded up for the top of the order, James Grease, and this could be it for C.J. Fleeman. And it is. He will hand the baseball over to Theo Hughes coming out of the Filthballer bullpen, and we'll see if he can limit the damage, working with a 3-run lead, but the tying run is aboard at first base. See how the situation unfolds when we return on Tuesday Night Baseball. Here in the top of the 5th inning. Bases loaded, 1 out for the Bombers, trailing 4-1 of the Filthballers here. I'm going to call the bullpen as Theo Hughes, right-hander, takes the mound. And Jaden, if you're C.J. Fleeman, you can't be happy with the way that outing ended. Cruising through 4 innings, hadn't walked anybody, just 1 unearned run, but all of a sudden you issue 3 straight free passes, and with 70 pitches, he gone.
Yeah, I think with him, the biggest thing there was just fatigue. I mean, it's going to be a long day for anybody, even if you're sitting the bench that first game, but it's a very hot, humid day, and I think he's just got to gas a little bit here in the 5th, a little too tired, and definitely a good thing to change some things up with Theo Hughes here, and still a guy in the bullpen available. Noah Wing just ended his stint in the bullpen. We'll see if they'll need him, but a big spot here for Hughes is this still a ball game here? Again, I think, we mentioned this. It really felt like it was all Filthballers coming into this one, and Just hasn't really seemed like the Bombers have been able to find anything offensively, but now the Filthballers may be giving this one away.
1 ball, no strikes to the top of the order, James Grease. He's 1 for 2 with a single and a fly out. And he chops this one back through the middle, out at second base, and a double play. On just 2 pitches, Hughes gets out of the jam. And a 4-1 Filthballers lead is preserved, headed to the bottom of the 5th. Bombers leave them loaded. And we will be right back on Tuesday Night Baseball with the bottom of the 5th inning. Bottom of the 5th inning. Beautiful night at JJ Isaacson Field as the sun has set and the lights are on. Filthballers lead the Bombers 4-1 in the bottom of the 5th inning, and big time double play to get them out of trouble in the top of the 5th. Bases were loaded for the Bombers, down by 3, and James Grease hits into a 6-4-3. The Filthballers preserve the 3-run lead with the top of their order, Trevor Winterstein at the dish. Zane Layden working into his 5th inning.
Hughes had to come back in so quickly after Fleeman really struggled in that one. He's really standing out there in the bullpen, maybe getting a little bit more stretched to feel a little bit more comfortable. As the other guy should bring a catcher out and maybe help him out a little bit, get himself back warm fully. And we'll see how the rest of this bullpen here works for the Filthballers. It maybe another bullpen day for the rest of this one if Layden can't work through here the 5th or 6th. I think there's going to be a question mark here, right? Again, you have Eggert, who's going to be your number 1 the entire way for the rest of this season, but how can Layden there too so you make sure he's healthy down the stretch?
He might get an out here in foul territory. Ball is slicing, and it is caught by Braden Olson. So Winterstein retired. He's 0 for 3, and now Nolan Christensen comes to bat.
Now batting, the extra hitter from Dordt University, number 13, Nolan Christensen.
Again, we mentioned just the fact of kind of the feeling of this one, right? You have bases loaded now in that last situation. You really thought, again, hey, this is a chance for the Bombers to get back. But it seems like every single time they have a chance, they just give it away, just like that double play.
Right center field. Sponberg makes the catch. 2 quick outs for Layden in the 5th, helping to save that bullpen.
Now batting,
although Rebecca Lair already did that to a healthy extent last night. Now 2 away for Jackson Horn, the shortstop. Base is empty. Horn is 0 for 2 with a fly out, reached on an error, and scored in the 3rd.
You got to be decently comfortable with Layden, at least so far here, with a really efficient 5th inning. Just 75 pitches through 4 2/3. So not incredible, but still doable for just 4 runs allowed here.
Right back up the middle. Jackson Horn with a hard hit single to center. And he extends the inning to Brendan Anderson with his first hit of the night.
Again, Horn's a guy that I really like to call sneaky fast in a way. He's really just overall as a player pretty sneaky, right? I don't want to say he gets overshadowed, but he kind of does a little bit between Anderson and Geezer and Christensen or Winterstein. I mean, there's so many just incredible guys at the top of this order, but I really think a guy like Horn just gets overlooked. A Papio South grad, I've pitched up against him. Between him and Jackson Trout, I despise pitching against those two. Just despise it. Because those are two guys that every single time I'd go against them, it's okay, I get a great fastball in the outer half, and somehow he gets a barrel to it. Every single time, the hands and the plate vision is just impeccable between those two. And Horn's just been a guy that's just been so dominant, but you put him on a different team, the Royal Blue Dogs or the Red Raiders or a team that struggle, and put the same kind of stats with him. I mean, he's their number one guy. But here, with just such a deep team, he's really their fourth or fifth guy in this group.
And now he takes off looking for his 15th stolen base. He'll have it as the ball is dropped, and he will stay put at second. 1-2 is the count on Anderson, and you're exactly right about Horn. He is very athletic, was a great wide receiver alongside Jackson Trout a couple years ago at Papio South. And Trout was three-sport athlete himself, getting plenty of reps on the basketball team too. And both of them here in the Corn Belt League, as that is low and away 2-2.
I think that was really the theme for those kind of teams for Papio South these last 2 or 3 years. Just a lot of athletes, a lot of guys that just went out there and played pretty well. Sometimes it was hard for them to put everything together in some sports, but they were always a competitor.
Shallow right field. The first baseman, Saul, goes out into the grass and makes the catch. Horn is left standing at second and will go to the sixth. 4-1 lead for the Filthballers. Bombers down to their final 6 outs on Tuesday Night Baseball. Tuesday Night Baseball on the Corn Belt League Network, and a beautiful baseball sky as we go to the top of the 6th inning. Gorgeous night here in Omaha, Nebraska, as Danny Spawnberg gets set to lead it off for the Bombers. Tyler Reidy and Jaden Taylor here with you in the back end of our doubleheader. Filthballers, if you're just joining us, have already clinched the regular season championship with a win earlier today against the Black Sox 6-3. And the number 1 seed in the postseason is all theirs. Theo Hughes, after throwing 2 pitches and getting an inning-ending double play with the bases loaded in the 5th, remains in the game and fires in the dirt to the backstop for ball 1.
And again, maybe too much for Hughes here as a guy who we mentioned went right back out of the bullpen after the 2-pitch double play. Maybe try to get himself a little more comfortable. He had to warm up pretty quickly to get kind of into it to help out Fleeman, who really struggled. But we'll see how now his command can work here. Another guy that's Going to work mid to upper 80s. Is just a huge dude overall at 6'5", and should be 6'6", apologies, but a guy that's just a really lengthy guy coming over the top, and that's really the biggest piece for him, right? That ball just comes out of his hand so late. The Bombers a lot of times just really overall opposing hitters just got to be a little bit of a step closer to find a way to get their timing.
2-1 the count on Sponberg, and he was out of Nebraska Wesleyan University. Now, Jaden, I'm just curious, you're a tall pitcher yourself as well. Is there anything you try to do to really maximize your abilities when you have that height, or does it all just come naturally?
I mean, the height overall doesn't give you the speed to an extent. I mean, it's really how you can work your legs. I think that's the biggest thing with a lot of different pitchers. You see, really, really tall guys. I think, an obvious example is Aroldis Chapman, who's just overall just flipping huge as a person. But I mean, you say as a longer, lengthier guy, a taller guy, it's really about kind of getting that hip hinge in your back leg, right? Just being able to make sure you can really feel yourself sitting into that back leg and then exploding going forward. Because it's really easy to just be able to throw a ball over the plate, right? It's not too hard for a lot of baseball players to throw a ball, but it's harder really once you can really just establish your true body and really feel connected to being able to throw the ball. And maybe sometimes the lengthier guys can sometimes struggle with, right? Because all the different moving pieces are so much longer. That's harder to try to, kind of get out in front sometimes.
So Sponberg takes a walk, and now with him on first base, it's not a matter of if he runs, it's a matter of when he runs. 4 stolen bases now in the last 2 games as Tanner Black digs in, 0 for 2 tonight. Look at the numbers on Theo Hughes. He's now thrown 13 innings with an ERA right around 3.8. His last outing was a start 8 days ago against the Red Raiders, throwing 3 innings, 6 hits, 5 walks, and 4 earned runs. And he needed 72 pitches to get through those 3.
Again, maybe a different look these past couple outings for Hughes, but again, just another piece to this Filthballers pitching staff, right? 7 different guys with 10 or more innings pitched and an ERA below 4. So there's so many people available that can get consistent innings on the mound, that can give you good innings on the mound, and he's just another example of it. This is really the most complete pitching staff that we've seen of any team this season. You work with Hughes, who's kind of mainly been set up as a setup man. You talked about the one start this season, but there's so many guys kind of able to fill into those roles, and they fill into them pretty well.
I told you Sponberg would be running. He takes off, but it's a foul ball. 1-1 the count now on Tanner Black. And Hughes did start the year with 7 consecutive innings without allowing an earned run. So he has those capabilities to really lead a bullpen alongside Noah Wing, who is still up and getting warm in that bullpen. Bombers bullpen empty for the moment. As the 1-1 pitch to Black will not come yet, as that pickoff throw hit Danny Sponberg, and I think he's just acting over there at first base a little bit.
That one got right off his back. Just saw that really exaggerating that one a little bit, but you could hear the thunk a little bit, really off the lower back area. I don't know, maybe that was a thought process, right? Don't run, I'll throw at you. Throw at you once, you don't quite feel good, so don't run next pitch.
We'll see what we get from Sponberg these next couple pitches. 1-1 still on Black. And it's in there, 1-2 the count.
You know what's an odd thing that I haven't seen this season? For a guy that has stolen more bags than anybody else in this league, the one time that he's been caught stealing, it was a pitch out. I have not seen a single other pitch out on a time that he's been stealing this season. Not one. I could be wrong, but legitimately, I've not seen a pitch out this season with Sponberg running.
I can't say I have either. And there he goes again, and he steals another one. Second steal of the night. There was a brief opportunity for Nick Ripa to tag him as his foot came off the bag, but he may have been too far away to get over there, and it's much less likely in this league for an umpire to spot that and call him out for coming off the bag than it is in the major leagues, where you have the frame-by-frame instant replay. 2-2 the count. Sponberg with stolen base number 21. And Black takes off the plate, full count. The Bombers already having left 6 on base tonight, 5 of those left in scoring position. Could put together another opportunity here with the heart of their order coming up.
Again, last inning was a really big opportunity, and they kind of threw it away. And there's only so many opportunities the Filthballers are going to give you. If the Bombers right now, you got to take it and find a way to tie up this ball game.
So Hughes, after Fleeman ended his outing with 3 consecutive walks in the 5th, Hughes walks 2 to begin the 6th. Sponberg and Black, and that fastball is just missing low and away for him. And now he'll deal with Brennan Cascio, the shortstop. 2 flyouts to right field for him.
Yeah, Wing is back up and hot in the bullpen. May need a little bit of a longer close situation for him. Somehow doesn't actually have an official save recorded. I think there's been a couple times they should have been a save, but you know, with players doing the game, sometimes things can get mixed up at the end of them. But you know, Wing might have to come out here and give it a little bit of a longer relief appearance for him.
Johnston Hobbs is out for, at the very least, a conversation with his pitcher, and it looks like it will be just that. Whole infield converges. Sponberg with a walk and a steal, then Black with a walk. Brennan Cascio, the shortstop, is due up. Hitting over 300 on the year, and he hits the ball hard consistently, so definitely want to have a game plan for him.
I think here, if you're Hughes, again, it's just being able to find the zone that you just have not seen from him so far. I think him going back to the bullpen after his first, batter to be able to get out of this past inning, I think that honestly showed a little bit. Maybe he doesn't quite have his best stuff right now, just because you don't quite feel comfortable out of the gate in the bullpen. There's some kind of question marks if you're fully ready here for tonight. But I think if you're Coach Hobbs, cannot give too much more of a leash here with the tying runner up to the plate with still nobody out.
2 on, nobody out, and a first pitch swing and foul tip from Cascio.
I think that went off of Pole's hands. That's not comfortable at all. I think he was honestly maybe trying to get ready to throw back to second, as Sponger had a huge secondary, but was working kind of slowly back to second. His hand kind of popped out a little bit as it fouled off his hand.
So strike 1 to Cascio. A lot of time for him to think here with the mound meeting and the slight delay after the foul tip. But he's back in there now for the 0-1. Repa holding Sponberg on at second, and there's a bunt attempt, but it goes right back to the wall. And 0-2 the count now, and Cascio up against it here. Bombers would hate to squander another opportunity with a man in scoring position.
Again, especially not being able to put those bunt down in those situations, it really can be just momentum killers. If you're a guy at the plate, right, I mean, you feel like it's a situation where you put it down, but not only do you not get the bunt down to help out your team, now you're further behind. Really, maybe a time for Hughes to start attacking, try to get him to chase a little bit.
And he fires upstairs, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Plenty of zip on that fastball.
Honestly, would have liked a little more off speed there, just because Cascio was down in the count. Definitely kind of looking for some kind of fastball over the middle, but I mean, maybe he'll go to the off speed here.
Yeah, you wonder if the high heater will set the table for something down and away. 1-2 the count. Couple looks back, and now Hughes comes home, and it's another high fastball, but too high. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Brennan Cascio.
See what Cascio can do here. Again, a big piece coming here. Really, the outfield kind of pushing him away. Left fielder out there, and Mathewson playing more towards the left field gap.
Off the hands, one bounce to second base. Ripa gets one out. As Black is cut off at second. Sponberg moves up to third. Cassio reaches on the fielder's choice, and now runners on the corners with one down. So you maybe think for a moment about letting that ball drop, potentially being able to get Sponberg between second and third, but he's just too fast. And now Nico Saul digs in. And another mound meeting, and then you wonder if this could be it, as Wayne is walking back to the dugout. And
As will.
that is that. He was just taking a while to leave the mound. And yep, there goes Wayne onto the field, so he will take the ball. Already having pitched in the 5 o'clock game, we'll see how much endurance and distance Noah Wayne can provide as he comes out of the bullpen with runners on first and third. Tying run at the plate for the Bombers here on Tuesday Night Baseball. Noah Wayne takes the ball with a tie-in run at the plate for the Bombers. Filthballers turning to the man who has been their de facto closer here this season. He closed out the 6-3 win over the Black Sox earlier today. Nico Saul showing bunt, taken outside, ball one. Inning started with back-to-back walks issued by Theo Hughes to Denny Sponberg and Tanny Black, and then Cassio, the fielder's choice, put runners at first and third. Saul trying to bunt again, 1-1. Interesting decision to have him try and get one down. It's not as if Sponberg coming down from third would tie the game with the 3-run deficit, but Sponberg does have plenty of speed.
I'm not quite sure. Maybe Deloach, who doesn't have a ton of experience, has kind of showed it here today defensively at third maybe a little bit, but kind of an odd look. And, well, there you go. Cassio able to steal second. The double plays out of order.
Cassio rips off the bag. That is stolen base number 6 for the Bombers tonight. They are running wild on the Filthballers, but still only 1 run to show for it.
And the defense is entirely playing Nico Saul pull side. He's not been too much of a pull hitter. He's been able to actually put the ball the other way pretty well this season. His spray chart's just pretty much even to all fields, but I guess with the lefty, the Filthballers want to move them around to see if Saul can pull, who did already here today with that double down the right field line.
Saul 1 for 2, also scored a run. And he takes outside, 3 balls, 2 strikes. First base is open, and the catcher, Gage Julin, is on deck, followed by Braden Olson, a former hitter of the week. Three-two pitch. And Saul takes it, not even close. A fastball that was well into the right-hand batter's box, and they're loaded up with 1 out for the catcher, Julin.
I think maybe for Wing, who again had to come out pretty quickly to switch up for another reliever in Hughes. And I mean, not quite, I don't want to say sore from that first outing, but definitely you go from throwing upper 80s to low 90s as quickly with a high energy type of situation against the Black Sox to essentially just sitting around doing nothing for a little bit, now having to come out in another pressure situation.
Julin chops this one, and it's fielded at second. Ripa throws him out. Sponberg comes in to score on the RBI ground out. That was a close play at first, but it is 4-2. And the tying run moves into scoring position for Braden Olson.
And that right there is why Coach Hobbs has been able to keep Ripa in the lineup. A guy who's decently struggled hitting this season, but the defense is there, right? That's an odd in-between hop. A high chopper over the pitcher. It can be kind of hard to read sometimes, and with the speedy Saul coming down the line, you just got to be able to, or excuse me, a speedy Julin coming down the line. A really good job by Ripa just to pick it up and throw a strong throw onto first.
Lined softly and caught at second base. There's Ripa again, as Olson hit it right to him. And the Bombers again strand multiple runners in scoring position, but they do get 1 back. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Filthballers still ahead by 2 on the Corn Belt League Network. Pomeroy leads off the bottom of the 6th inning for the Filthballers. They lead 4-2. And he did not go around. Ball 1. Zane Layden pitching deep into this one. Already 5 innings, allowing 4 runs, 3 of them earned on 9 hits. So he's kept the ball in the strike zone, just 1 walk. And now he gets a roller down the third base line. That's foul. And 1-1 the count. Layden, 82 pitches through those 5.
And I think you got to give him some credit a little bit after just 2 days removed from an outing, a starting outing from him back up against the Haymakers. 56 pitches in that one, and then just 2 days later is back up against the best hitting team in the league and is 4 runs through 5+ innings so far is not always the greatest, but it's kept these Bombers in this ball game. I think, Tyler, you have more on this, but just the Bombers have had so many chances with runners in scoring position, just haven't been able to bring them in.
Yep, 8 runners left on base tonight. 7 of them were left in scoring position. Something you can't afford to do in any game, but especially when you're playing against the number 1 team in the league, these Filthballers. 2-2 the count on Mitchell Pomeroy, who's had a great debut today. Going 2 for 2 with a pair of singles, one of which drove in a run. He's also scored a run, but now he'll ground out on a bounce to second base. Caleb Lemon making the play. Another thing to consider with Zane Layden, you mentioned him going deep into this one after throwing a fair amount of pitches on Sunday. The Bombers have just 2 games left after tonight, on Thursday against the Black Sox, then again on Saturday with the Royal Blue Dogs. And then it's postseason time, but that's not until next Thursday, the 27th. So assuming Layden wouldn't pitch in either of those next 2 contests, you can give him plenty of time to rest up going into the tournament.
Yeah, I think maybe if you want to look out of where that pitching setup's going to be for Thursday, Saturday, and the next week, I think if we see, most likely, I would guess Eggert would go up against the Black Sox on Thursday, but I think the biggest question mark is just going to be any kind of pitching on Saturday between the Royal Blue Dogs and Bombers, depending upon who they're going to go to next. Again, it's kind of been 2 guys that have been very consistent this season for the Bombers, but outside of that, it's been a big question mark, and I think that's going to be a big factor of how can they have a big tournament run. We talked about it. Again, what teams can maybe figure a way to have a long tournament run outside of the Filthballers? It's really been the Black Sox or the Haymakers. The Bombers have had the offense to maybe do it, but the pitching has just not been there.
So Mahachik wears one on the back, hit by the pitch. Isaac Bonner will pinch run for him at first. Now Nick Ripa, who's had some tough luck tonight, 0 for 2 with lineouts to the shortstop and the pitcher, Zane Layden. One of 2 comebackers he's caught tonight.
Now back-to-back. I do not know the last time I've ever seen that. I mean, right coming back at you. And the second one was definitely not quite the same speed as the first. The pitch was a slider rather than a fastball, but still definitely a scary moment, especially in summer ball. That ball's coming back right at you, and sometimes just the instinctual way to put out the glove, and luckily Layden was able to do it.
0-2 on Ripa. Bonner at first, and that is up and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 runs, 3 hits, 2 errors for the Bombers tonight. He scored 1 in the second, another in the 6th. 4 runs, 9 hits, 2 errors for the Filthballers, and this could be 2. A strong defensive play by Brennan Cascio as he gets to the bag with his right foot at second and throws to first for the out. And a 6-3 deep key ends the 6th inning and takes us to the 7th. Filthballers are 3 outs away from win number 21 when we return on the Corn Belt League Network. top of the 7th inning,
Number 77, Kayla
Noah Wayne, Filthballers closer, looking for his second save of the day as he will face the Bombers' 7, 8, 9 hitters, starting with Caleb Lemon holding a 2-run lead. He saved the game against the Black Sox with a 3-run lead. And he fires a low strike 1 to Lemon, the second baseman. He's 0 for 1, reaching on an error in the second and taking a walk in the 5th.
Yeah, Lemon, I'm not sure if he didn't like that call or was more frustrated himself and not swinging at it. It was a good pitch that just caught the bottom half of the zone, and that fastball has been really good when he's able to establish it early here for Wing.
1 ball and 1 strike. Lemon, Weber, and Jordan for the Bombers. Down to their final 3 outs. In danger of falling back to 500. Yeah, there's a cut and a miss. Blew the fastball right by him. The Bombers staring straight in the face of a potential 4th consecutive loss. And if the score were to remain the same, it would be 4th consecutive game with 3 or less runs scored. So the offense has really gone wayward in these last few games or so, as it's 2-2 now on Lemon.
Yeah, I mean, they've had to face some pretty good pitching. Honestly, you want to say top 10, top 15 guys in this Corn Belt League, they've had to face them these past 3 nights. I mean, here tonight with Fleeman, you talk about Warner and then Caden Van Hill back-to-back for the Haymakers. And then right before that, you got to go up against arguably the best pitcher in the league, at least started off this season, and definitely this past week, the most recent pitcher of the week in Austin Shelton, who just had an incredible day, 11 strikeouts.
Ball stroked to center field, a couple steps back, and a catch for Trevor Winterstein, and that's out number 1. Now the DH Kyle Weber digs in. He's 0 for 1 with a pop out and a walk.
Now batting, the designated hitter from Bellevue University, number 30.
I don't know what it is. It may be just a long day that we've had, and I know I said it earlier, but it just really seems like the Bombers just have very little or no energy right now. In a game like this, I get it's fatigue can be there, it can be a hot day, but you're going up against a team that already had to play a pretty suspenseful game back and forth with the Black Sox already today, so it's just kind of surprising to me how quiet that dugout has been for the Bombers so far here today. Really just how quiet the offense has been as well. They've had the chances, they just haven't been able to come through.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. It has to be frustrating for them. Get back to that in a second as this has popped up to first. Mahacek, that thing drops, but it goes foul. What in the world? So Mahacek came flying in from first, meeting the catcher, pull down the line, but it drops and squirts foul. But anyway, back to what I was saying, it has to be frustrating for the Bombers because it just feels like they've been doing the same thing inning after inning over and over in terms of getting a guy or two on, stealing some bases, putting them in scoring position, and then you just can't come up with the hits. It just feels like the struggle's never going to end for you once you get a few innings deep into that.
And again, it's even worse when you've come back 3 different days to where your offense has struggled. You haven't been able to find the hits that need to be, and you're going up against another group of pitchers that have been so dominant this season, right? You really can't go a game to where you're getting a team's 3 or 4 guy. You're getting consistently the 1, 2, or 3 guy. And for really, truly some of the best pitching staffs here, you want to arguably say what are the 3 best pitching staffs? It's probably going to be the Filthballers. Right after that, probably the Haymakers. Then probably the Rail Riders right after that. And they've had to go up against them these past couple days.
2-2 the count on Weber, and inside 3-2. Doesn't get any easier for the Bombers. They take on the Black Sox on Thursday, a team that is not only second best in the league record-wise, but just went toe-to-toe with the Filthballers. Game was tied at 3 in the 6th inning of that one before Filthballers pulled away and won it 6-3. As that has popped out of play, and a nice catch over there by the bullpen catcher for the Filthballers.
Wait, hold up. Okay, banana ball, right?
Yeah.
Did they count, would they count that as a fan?
That's a great question.
Well,
where are the bullpens in Savannah?
That's a good point. Well, I mean, a lot of times they're on a road trip, right? And they always do the tour around the country.
Oh, yeah, that's true. One hop to second, and Ripa throws wide and pulls Mahacek off the bag at first. We'll see how it's scored. Weber is on, and the tie and run comes to the plate. But that is an interesting question. Just to fill you in, the Savannah Bananas play banana ball, which is baseball with some very inverted different rules. And one of them is that if a player hits the ball out of play and a fan makes the catch, it counts as an out.
So, I mean, I guarantee you there are places that have bullpens like this to where it's off the side and foul out of play. Like,
Yeah.
you count. Is that an unfair advantage? Like, you have baseball players in the stands for a team, right? Like if you're the hitting team, right, and you have a guy on the bullpen, you just want to just leave it, let it drop. Like, that's something to think about.
That is an interesting point, as it's 0-1 here on Cole Nordine once again, pinch hitting. It is ruled a base hit for Kyle Weber. And that is outside, 1-1 to Nordine, who walked in his first appearance in the 5th. I haven't looked deep enough into those rules to know, but what about home run balls if you have the bullpens out there? Do they do anything about home runs? Because, I mean, you got
That's not a foul ball, though.
Oh, it's only foul balls?
Yeah, it's only foul
okay.
balls. I'm pretty sure. I think pretty sure it's only foul balls.
Yeah, that sounds right. 1-2 the count on Nordine. Weber at first. Again, Bombers have stolen a number of bases today, 6 of them, in fact. Weber just 3 steals on the year. Probably not expected to go, and he doesn't have much of a lead. As that is up and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Nordine.
Yeah, especially when you're down 2, it's a little bit too risky to try to take second on that one. Again, it does put pressure on Wing, but for a guy that's really quick to the plate, I mean, he's got a quick work towards him. And Pohl, who's also shown the arm a little bit this season as well, don't really want to risk getting the second out there.
Swing and a miss. He goes up and away to Nordine for the strikeout. And the Filthballers are 1 out away. Top of the order, James Grease. Tie and run still at the plate. Grease, a fly out, a single. He's stolen 2 bases, but the 5th inning, one of the key moments of this game. Grease came to bat with the bases loaded, 1 out. And on just the second pitch from Theo Hughes out of the Filthballer bullpen, he grounded into a 6-4-3 double play. Inside, ball 1.
And somehow out of that entire inning, not a single ball, fair or foul, left the infield.
Yep, strikeout, walk, 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 double play. One and one. Been a very strange game, at least when the Bombers have been at the plate, with all the runners in scoring position. That moment there in the 5th. And then even on the mound with those 2 comebacker catches from Layden, as this is off the hands and foul. 1-2. So 1 strike away. Filthballers looking to make it 21-4 on the season. It'll be an .840 win percentage. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Wayne climbs the ladder and gets Grease on the K, and the game's over. Filthballers win it 4-2. They sweep their 2 games of action, beating the Black Sox and the Bombers. And with the regular season title already secured, they do what they've been doing all year. They just keep winning.
Yeah, again, I think the question now is, how can you beat the Filthballers? I mean, it's really going to be towards that. I mean, if you're putting something down on who's going to win this season, who is the betting favorite overall, it's by far the Filthballers. You talked first about the record, secondly about just the depth on this team. There's just so many pieces that can come through, and it seems like every night it's a different person. One night it's Brendan Anderson going off and going 2 for 3 with a double and an RBI. Another night it's a different guy we saw here tonight, Hunter Scruggs, with the ability to put one down the line and help the Filthballers win their first game. Then here today it's the pitching staff. Just a really good job for the back half of the bullpen to do a good job. Theo Hughes able to help out Fleeman after he struggled in that 5th, and then Wing able to have a long closing performance to shut it out. But again, there's just so many pieces to this team that go out and make plays, and it's really hard to beat a team that has so many guys that can do that. A lot of teams have 2 to 3 guys. I mean, they have 14, 15 guys that can help this out.
And to answer your question, I think the only way might be to outpitch them. You're not outslugging the Filthballers, but you look at their losses this year, 5-0, 4-3, 4-3, and 5-2. So just have to get a great outing from one of your starters and come up with the timely hits. But we'll be right back with our head coach of the Filthballers, Johnston Hobbs, to discuss the regular season title, his team's performance this year, and the outlook going into the playoffs when we return on the Corn Belt League Network.
Back here on JJ Isaacson Field to wrap this one up. The Filthballers sweep the doubleheader here on Tuesday Night Baseball. They clinch the CBL regular season titles for back-to-back seasons. And Tyler Reidy now down on the field with both our Kelly Supply Company player of the game as well as head coach Johnson Hobbs.
Down here on the field with our Corn Belt League player of the game, Mitchell Pomeroy of the Filthballers, and their head coach, Johnson Hobbs. Mitchell, I'll start with you. This was your first day with the Filthballers coming over from University of Wisconsin-Platteville. So just what was the transition like getting here, and what have you seen with the team so far?
Yeah, so I was in the league last year. I played for Coach Hobbs. So, I live about 2 hours away during the summer. So it wasn't a huge transition. I'm just happy to be here. It's always fun to be on a championship team, and obviously I haven't been here all summer, but it's just cool to be in that atmosphere to be playing for a championship regardless. So.
Now, you were a key contributor in this second game here, the win over the Bombers, going 2 for 3, picking up a couple singles, your first run of the year, your first RBI of the year. You look comfortable at the plate despite it being your first day. How'd you feel up there?
Yeah, I felt pretty good. I haven't been playing games a whole lot, obviously, but I've still been consistently putting in work, so I just had to go open the box and just trust the work and know that what I'm doing is going to pay off.
So we'll move over to you, Coach Hobbs. One of the toughest things to do at any level of baseball is sweep a doubleheader, and you did exactly that today, albeit it was against two different teams. But what did you see from your team today, picking up the 6-3 win over the Sox and then the 4-2 victory over the Bombers?
Well, I'd argue sweeping a doubleheader against two different teams is probably harder, because you've less familiarity, and that's the third doubleheader we've had this year, more than any other team in the league, and we've swept them all. So our approach doesn't change. It's game to game. We treat everybody else. I heard a lot of talk this week about number one versus number two in that first game. We treat everybody else like they're number one. That's our approach, and we're number two. So we come in, we just do our work. I was very lucky. I was blessed to have Mitch with me all last season, and when his plans changed this summer and we had a couple guys go down, Mitch was ready to come in, step in there for us, so that's a big lift. And everybody that played me last year that's here liked playing with Mitch, so that helps. There's a lot of chemistry. And, we just trust each other. You just go up there and you trust your hands, you trust the work that we've done, and we just stick to our game plan. And 21 times this summer it's worked for us, so I think we'll stick with it.
So I asked the same question to Brendan after game one, but what is it that makes this team so special to have such an incredible year going 21-4 and locking up that number one seed?
Well, there's a lot of things. It's hard to pick any one particular thing. We're having a lot of fun. Everybody gets along. Everybody's bought in. I'm sure everybody would like to play more, but we only have a certain number of games and a certain number of innings and a certain amount of positions. But everybody here has bought in and they support each other, and I think they see that it's something bigger than just the individual. Like a real team experience is like one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life. It's the thing I miss the most about playing. This kind of helps me live, like Mitch and these guys, lets me live vicariously through them in the league because I can't play anymore. But there's nothing really special except for everybody bought in from day one, and they do what we tell them to do. So they're easily coachable.
And then last thing for you here, this is something Jaden and I were talking about up in the booth during the game, but what's the game plan look like for you finishing out this regular season? In addition to continuing to win, does the strategy change at all for you as a head coach with positions and pitchers going forward here to close out the year?
Well, to quote Bruce Lee, my plan is no plan, right? Yep. What we're going to do is what we've done. Why would we change anything? We're going to go with what works for us, and if, we're in a single elimination tournament and it doesn't work, then, the better team won that day. But right now, we're just going to approach every game like it's the middle of the season and they're the number one seed, and we got to go out and play our tails off.
All right, well, thank you so much, Head Coach Johnson Hobbs, player of the game as well for the Filthballers. And we'll send it back up to you, Jaden Taylor. Thank you so much. All right.
Thanks, man.
Thank you so much, Tyler. A really good chat with head coach Johnston Hobbs, and another new piece. The depth has been showing off this season for the Filthballers. That's probably their biggest strength. They showed it off tonight. Guys like Pomeroy, Hunter Scruggs, Jackson Horn, and so many more on this Filthballers team have been able to help them get to a now 21-4 record, the most dominant start to a season that we've seen from arguably any team here in the Corn Belt League. Make sure to stay tuned here on the Corn Belt League Network tomorrow as we bring back Around the Corn for the 7th episode of the season. And we talk a little bit more about these Filthballers' dominant start. We talk with our hitter of the week, Gabe Ratetic, as well as our pitcher of this past week in Austin Shelton. And talk a lot about a whole lot more here in the CBL. The playoffs are just around the corner, and the Filthballers are ready for it. They win this one here tonight, 4-2 from Tyler Reidy. Everybody here in the Corn Belt League crew, our producer, Maddox Allen, my father, our director here tonight, and Lewis Taylor. Thank you guys so much. It's been Jaden Taylor. Have a wonderful evening. We'll be back here tomorrow afternoon at 5 p.m.
No matter what your age, skill level, or position, your baseball season begins at the Strike Zone. Featuring state-of-the-art batting cages, group and private instruction, the Strike Zone provides athletes all the training and equipment you need to get your game to the next level. Give the gift of development to your baseball or softball player. Purchase your Strike Zone gift cards today. Baseball never ends at the Strike Zone.